When it comes to formatting text, there's a few tricks with regards to selecting text. For example, I'm just going to click in this text box here, which contains the most text. If I want to select all the text in this text box, I'll press the key combination Control A, and Control A will quickly and easily select all the text in this text box. And it's from there that I can do things like change the font and change the font size. You have on your Home tab a button called Font, and mine's currently set on Calibri. But what I can do is hit the drop down here and choose a different font. Perhaps I'll choose Arial. I can also choose a different font size using this drop down here. The font size is currently set to 10, but if I choose a larger number, the text will get larger, and if I choose a smaller number, the text will get smaller. So I might go for size 14. So Control A is a quick way to select text. Other options include, if I click at the beginning of a sentence, perhaps this one here, I can hold the Shift key and hit the End key to select to the end of a line, Shift End. If I was sitting at the end of the line, Shift Home will go to the beginning of the line. If I want to select a word at a time, I might place my cursor in front of Publisher and hold the Control, the Shift, and press the right arrow. So with Control, Shift, with the Control key and the Shift key down, I can tap the right arrow to start selecting words at a time to the right. If I go Control, Shift, left arrow, I'll be unselecting words at a time to the left. And if I use Shift right arrow, I'm not selecting words, I'm just selecting letters, one at a time. And Shift left arrow will unselect the letters. So you've got a variety of ways that you can select text. Now let's look more closely at your formatting options. First of all, let's press Control A. We've already looked at the fact that you can change the font, which is the style of writing, using this font drop down, and that you can change the font size using this particular drop down. The other thing you can use is this button here, which increases the font size every time you click it. So if you're working visually, you can keep clicking it until such time as it's the size you want. Now I've made the font 22 and my text is quite large now, and the little placeholders that were on the outside of the frame have now gone red, and this little guy appears as well. This is indicating that I've made the font so big that the text is now actually not all visible in this text box. So it's probably wise for me to then use this button to decrease the font size. And now I can see all the text and the red warnings have disappeared. Now there are shortcut keys for these two buttons as well, Control greater than and Control less than. If I hold the Control and hold the Shift and press the less than key, I'll reduce the font size visually, and Control Shift greater than, I'll increase the font size. Notice I'm saying press Control Shift less than and Control Shift greater than, and that is because Microsoft assumed that you know that the Shift key needs to be held to get the greater than symbol on your keyboard, and the Shift key needs to be held to get the less than symbol on your keyboard. Now the other thing you can do is you can also clear formatting, and that's this button here. I can quickly click this button and clear any formatting that I've done. So it takes it back to the original font, Calibri, and the original font size. And it's a quick way of getting rid of all the formatting if you want to start again with your formatting. What I might do is undo the clear formatting, so I'm going for my undo button on my quick access toolbar to put the text back to how it was. Other options you've got are bold with this B button here. If I click this button, it makes the text bold, and if I click it again, it makes it unbold. You've also got italics, which makes it sort of slopey, and turn off the italics. And you've got underline, which underlines the text, and turn it off by hitting the button again. I'll skip these two for the moment. This one here, this allows you to change the case. So if you felt that you should have typed this in capitals, you can change the case to perhaps all caps. And even as I roll over these options, you can see what the choice would do if it was chosen. But I'll put it back to normal. You've also got this option, which is to increase or decrease the spacing between each letter or character. I can make it tight, very tight, loose, very loose. So these are various spacing options, but I'll leave it on normal. And also in this group, which is called the font group, you also have the font color. So I can change the color of the text from being black to perhaps red or blue or purple or green. You've got various font colors. So I'll just leave mine as black. So that's the font group. On the Home tab in the font group, a variety of buttons. And if what you require is not immediately apparent as a button, it's important to know that this little arrow here in the bottom right corner of the font group is not there for decoration. It's actually called the Font Dialog Box Launcher. And when you click this, you'll actually launch the Font Dialog Box. And this is another way that you can change the font style, the size, the color, and underline. But you get extra options that aren't in this font group, such as shadow. If I turn this on and turn this off, you can see a preview. Such as outline, such as embossed, engraved, and so on and so forth. So there are extra options that are available in the Font Dialog Box Launcher that aren't immediately apparent as buttons in the font group, and we've just chosen a few of them. So I'm going to hit cancel. Now looking at the paragraph group, there are also paragraph options that you can apply. First of all, with the use of orange, I can see that my paragraph is currently aligned to the left. But if I was to click this button, it would be aligned to the center. And if I click this button, it'll align to the right. And this one is what they call justify. And that sort of spreads it out a little bit. So I'll put it back on left. You can also indent your paragraphs by hitting this button and outdent them using this button. You can also change your information into 2 columns using this button, or 3 columns, or more columns. But I'm just going to set it back to 1 column. You can also change the line spacing using this button. I can go to 1.5 line spacing, double line spacing, or any line spacing option I'd like. But I'll go back to 1, which is single line spacing. This paragraph spacing button here enables you to add spacing, extra spacing, between each paragraph instead of between each line, which is what that line spacing button did. This is paragraph spacing, and you'll see it spacing out the paragraphs. But I'll put it back on none. If I wanted to apply bullets or numbering to certain amounts of text, I would highlight by dragging the text, and I've selected this part of text, and I can apply bullets. And I get a selection here, so I might decide either on a circle, a diamond, an arrow, or an asterisk. Or I can go into bullets and numbering and choose a different type of bullet. Just by clicking on one of these and going into character and choosing an entirely different character. Maybe this one. I could apply numbering simply by going into this numbering button and choosing a numbering style. ABC, Roman, uppercase or lowercase, 1, 2, 3, etc. Any other formatting options regarding the paragraph you'll find in the Paragraph Dialog Box Launcher. When I click this, I can also change my alignment in here in the same way as I did with these 4 buttons. I can apply any indenting I require, just like I did with these 2 buttons. I can also apply line spacing and paragraph spacing, and I have many options in here, but I'll just go cancel.